Just want to apologize for the formatting and any errors below as I am writing this all out on my phone. I guess I should start with some context for the situation. First off, I'm a 38 male and she is 31 female. We met through my sister as they were best friends. We've been together, off and on, for about 12 to 13 years. We moved in together about 7 or 8 years ago and just got married in October 2021, so we've been married for 4 months at this point. We have 2 beautiful daughters, 2.5 and 1.5. We planned on getting married before the girls came, but the first was a surprise. She stopped taking birth control without letting me know. I was very upset at first but couldn't imagine life without them now. They are my number one and I'd do anything for my girls. I'm no angel and don't claim to be. I've made mistakes in the past. I'm not here to paint myself as some saint and her the devil. That being said, I'll start with my shortcomings. I've cheated in the past. Not once or twice, but 3 times. The first 2 were early in the relationship, not justifying it, and the most recent was a year or 2 after moving in together. When we moved in together, I was very motivated to do things around the house and work on fixing things up around the house. As time went on, I started to get complacent and fell into watching YouTube all the time or playing video games. So basically I became lazy. There are other smaller shortcomings I have but none that should pertain to this situation, so we'll move on. As for my wife, she has always put the family first. She is a wonderful person and I truly feel that she loves me and the kids. There are a few things that I feel have gotten out of hand as time has gone on. My biggest issue is that she has fallen in love with wine. It started as having a glass or 2, maybe 2 or 3 times a week, and has escalated to about 4 to 6 per night every night. I've brought this up to her many times and how I feel like this is a problem, especially since alcoholism runs in her family. She always brushes it off and says it's her way of unwinding each night. This has caused her to gain lots of weight. I'm not as attracted to her as I once was. She has recently come to me and asked if we could start going to the gym together, this way she won't feel the need to drink and can start to get healthy again. I agreed, but nothing has happened in the 2 weeks since that conversation. Her time drive is so much lower than mine and I have a lot of kinks. She on the other hand is. Let's just say the normal way is about all she wants to do. To her credit, she has grown a lot in that aspect and has expanded a little bit and opened up to me about that side of her, and she does try really hard to please me when it comes to that. Thinking back on it now, I probably cheated in the past because of that reason alone. There are more things I could get into, but that should be enough context for this situation. Okay, finally time for why you all started reading this post. My story starts about a month ago with my neighbor sending my wife a friend request on Facebook. My wife immediately tells me he has done this and asks me if she should accept. I told her sure, as he is probably just requesting people around the neighborhood. She asked if I had gotten on and I told her I didn't know because I no longer actively look at Facebook. I'll jump on maybe once a month. So she accepts his friend request and immediately he starts to message her on the Messenger app. She tells me he is just making small talk about the 2 of us hanging out sometime and sports and stuff. I tell her okay and start playing a video game. About 5 minutes later she come to me and tells me that he just asked a weird question: does your husband check your phone? Not that you have anything to hide. She responded no, because I don't check her phone. After which he immediately starts flirting and S-timing her. She says she told me this, but I do not recall that being said at all. Fast forward a few days and it is now Friday night, Saturday morning. I'm a morning person and she is a night owl. That is important for the next part. I wake up at 4:20 a.m. and it appears that she is sleeping because I see a big mound of blankets on her side of the bed. I slip out the bedroom and notice that she had forgotten to turn off almost every light in the house. I proceeded to turn off all the lights and head to the garage to smoke. When I get there, the lights are on in there too. I sit down and about 2 minutes into my cigarette I hear someone behind me in the laundry room. I open the door and there is my wife with her shirt off throwing it in the wash. My stomach drops because I know something is up. I start asking her why she is up and how long she's been up. She lies and says she couldn't sleep and she's been up for about 20 minutes. I ask where she was and she says she was outside smoking. Keep in mind that it's winter and the temp was probably around 15 to 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I asked why and she said it was too smoky in the garage, so she went outside. It wasn't. It didn't even smell like a cigarette was smoked in there for a few hours. I told her that I didn't see her outside. She always sits right outside the sliding glass door when she smokes. She responded that she was in the alcove because the wind. I tell her something is off and none of this makes sense. She swears up and down that's the truth, then asks me to come sleep with her. I didn't want to because I knew something was wrong, but did anyway because our time life has all but gone away. At this point it's once every month or two, the deed happens and I go play some video games and wait for my daughters to get up while she goes to bed. Fast forward a few days and everything is off. You know when you have that feeling something is wrong and no matter what you do to shake it, it just won't go away? Well, that's me at this point, so I bring it up again and point out the flaws in her story. Finally she admits that the neighbor texted her at 2 a.m. when she was about to lay down asking if she has some cigarettes because he had just run out. She tells me that in her head she was going to go over there and set things straight and tell him that she is happily married and nothing is going to happen between them. She heads over through the back door so she isn't caught by our doorbell camera. They shoot the shit for a few hours and then start making out. He pulled his thing out and that's when she said she pushed him off and came back home. I tell her all this needs to stop and that if I ever catch her over there again we are finished. We end up talking for the next 2 or 3 days about this because she finally came clean on a Tuesday. I feel like we can move past this and the following day she sends me a nude which throws me off guard because I haven't gotten one of those from her in like 8 years. I sorta let on that this feels weird and she tells me that she was just trying to do something nice for me. I later find out that this was taken for the neighbor and sent to me afterwards in case I had found it and asked why she took it. So going into that weekend I'm a little worried because I have plans with my best friend to go to a concert which wasn't a concert. I'll elaborate more a little later. So this was going to be an all-day and night event because it was in Washington, D.C. which I didn't know when I had agreed to it. Also I had agreed because it was going to be his birthday present for me because none of his other friends wanted to take him. For context, I live about 3.5 hours away from D.C. anyway. When I get to his house is when I find out that we are going to a club to see DJs and not a concert. This is not my scene and I really don't want to go. I do because it's my best friend and he needs me. The whole ride there and half the night I'm spilling my heart out to my wife telling how much I love her and that we will get past this and how much I just want to be in her arms right now. She is basically saying the same thing to me but telling me to try and enjoy myself because something like this will not happen again for a long time. She tells me her phone is going to die and she wants me to text her when we get back to the hotel. The show gets close to ending and I have a gut-wrenching feeling that is telling me I need to leave now and head home. I tell my buddy I'm heading back to the room to pack all our stuff and we are heading home. He is worried because I haven't slept since 8 a.m. yesterday. It's now 3:30 a.m. and I'm walking back to the hotel. I pack things up, check out, and he gets to the car. We start heading home in the snow and around 4:30 a.m. I get a call from my wife checking in on me. I tell her we are on the road home and she immediately asks where I am. I tell her I'm not exactly sure and that I'll be home in a little over 2 hours. She's worried about me not sleeping and driving all the way home. I tell her we will be fine and hang up the phone because the road are getting bad and I can feel the car starting to slide. I drop my buddy off at his house and head home. At this point I feel like being super dad and coming home not sleeping, cleaning the house and grabbing the girls when they wake up so she can sleep in. My plan was to take a nap when they laid down for theirs. I get home and she is asleep so I grab the monitor and proceed to head outside for a smoke when I realize my eldest is waking up. I grab her and get her out of bed so she doesn't wake anyone else up. She wants my phone but I need it to stay awake by listening to music. I tell her I'll go grab mommy's for her. When I grab the phone and head back to the living room I notice a text from the neighbor saying something along the lines of next time he wants her to tell him what gets her off so he can do it and eat it all up. I immediately get sick and hand my phone to my daughter and put hers in my pocket. I pace around my house for the next 4.5 hours while I wait for her to get up. She doesn't so I walk in and wake her up. She finally comes out of the room and walks right past me heading for the garage. I ask her where she is going and she says to find her phone. I tell her not to worry about it because I have it. She can have it back after we talk. She can choose to talk now or after her cigarette. She goes and smokes and I sit at the table and take my phone out and start recording a video and place my phone on the table. She walks over, sits down and asks about my phone and I tell her not to worry about it. I tell her this is her last chance to come clean to me. In my head I think they had slept together that first night and she just didn't want to tell me. The next things out of her mouth destroyed me. She says that the neighbor came over last night and they slept together in the basement. I lost it and told her to get out. She refused and I told her if she didn't leave in the next 15 minutes I'd call her mom and tell her we are getting a divorce. She didn't leave so I called her. We put the girls to bed and I packed my stuff for a week and left. I headed back to my best friend's house with every intention to call a lawyer and start the divorce proceedings. On the way I thought about my daughters and called my wife and told her she has until I get to where I'm going to change my mind. She tried and tried but nothing she said changed anything until I told her I was there and she didn't change my mind. That's when she said she would quit drinking and a thought popped into my head. I told her yes. Thanks you for watching. Everyday new movies. See you soon.